Good day, my brothers. Welcome to the Remarkable Man Show. Today's episode was hard for me to do. I'm going to get real, I'm going to get raw, I'm going to get vulnerable with you because today I talk about the day I found out my son was not mine and how it impacted my life and how I turned it around. Let's go.
Gentlemen, the world needs remarkable men. This is your time, and this is your show. I'm your host, Dwayne Klassen, and welcome to the Remarkable Man Show.
Yes, gentlemen, this is your time, and this is your show. Welcome to the Remarkable Man Show. If you're brand new, welcome. Glad you are here. Don't forget to subscribe and connect with us if you're listening on iTunes. And also go over to our Remarkable Man Project YouTube channel where you can watch the actual video of the Remarkable Man Show. Leave us a review. Everything helps the algorithm to help the world find the Remarkable Man Show. We're here to empower men, to give them the tools, the resources, and the brotherhood to help them be remarkable. All right. Today's episode is one that I was reluctant to share because it reminded me of a very difficult time in my world. Now, I have shared this many, many times. It's part of my story. It's part of the legacy. But I know there's a lot of new men that are new to not only myself, to the show, and also the Remarkable Man Project. So I wanted to share this because there might be a brother out there that's going through a similar situation. But even if it's not the same, some of the lessons that I learned are incredibly powerful. So the story begins in 2008. This is the year what I affectionately called my perfect storm. And in this period of time, I was both incredibly successful and incredibly happy, and things were just rocking in my world. Like, wow, I was just knocking it out of the park. So I felt like I was invincible, and I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. I have to give you some context around the relationship that I had with my son. It wasn't a traditional relationship. His mom and I were essentially friends with benefits. It was great. We had a lot of fun, and she was a great gal. She really was. And then she moved to another city, and it's about an hour and a half flight from my city. Time went by, and then she phoned me up and said, "Hey, Dwayne, I've got some news for you." What? Well, I'm pregnant. What? Yeah, I'm pregnant. And you have to understand, I had no clue that I was it. I thought that she was having fun and something happened. So I said, "Wow, congratulations." And she goes, "No, it's yours." And I went, "Whoa, wait a minute." And at that time, I was 35 and I didn't have all my ducks in a row at that time. I had this vision as to what I wanted when it came to being a dad. And I didn't have the white picket fence or the golden retriever sitting on the porch. That was my idyllic world for raising a family. And here I am, just told that I'm about to have a love child. Right. So she said, "Hey, you know what? You're not moving here. I'm not moving there. We don't have that kind of connection. And I'm too far along. I'm going to be having this child. And if you want to be part of its life, it's up to you." So I didn't really feel that there was any other pressure. And she didn't make me feel like there was pressure, but she goes, "Think about it." And I hung up the phone. I'm like, holy shit. And a wave of panic and anxiety and all these emotions were coming to the surface. Like, holy fuck, how could I have created this? This is just crazy. But here I am. And it wasn't until I remembered a Buddhist philosophy. And that philosophy says that we choose our parents for our greatest growth and upliftment. Mm-hmm. We choose our parents from a higher source. We come into this world because we chose our parents, because we knew that those parents would be the greatest test the greatest lessons would come from those parents. It's quite a mind fuck if you think about it. But it was that philosophy that allowed me to go, bing, wait a minute. Wow, this child chose me to be its father. Oh my God. And I was just filled with the sense of honor, sense of grace, a sense of winning the lottery kind of thing. And I phoned her up and I said, hey, I'm on board. Let's do this. Now, we didn't have the traditional relationship. In fact, we had a platonic relationship. We made that arrangement. As the months and years started to tick by, I was doing better. My company had started to take off, and I was able to spend more and more time with him. And as I did, it was a very symbiotic relationship with him and his mom and me, because every time I came to visit, she would be able to go hang out with her friends, go do the things that she enjoyed doing. And it was a reprieve from being a mom. And I got to hang out with them. I got to have one-on-one time. It was our guy time. And I was able to spend, a bookend, a weekend every 3 weeks or so. And it was great. It wasn't until just after his 7th birthday, and we were all at a Timbits soccer game. Now, if you're not familiar with Canada, we have Tim Hortons, and they have these little donuts called Timbits. Well, Tim Hortons actually sponsors a lot of these youth soccer camps or organizations. And so all these little kids wear Tim Hortons Timbits because they're small, they're tiny. And just like any 7-year-old playing soccer with his peers, it's not really soccer. It's just going around a scrum. The ball is there, and then some kids are picking dandelions, some are playing with butterflies. It's just what 7-year-olds do. But as I'm watching the kids, I start to notice my son's best friends. And my son's best friends are there, the parents are there. And I noticed his best friend is a mountain of a child, and he's about a foot higher than all the rest of the kids in the scrum. But then I noticed my son, and I noticed he was one of the smallest in the squad. This is like the 3rd smallest kid. And the 2 others were Asian. And the parents of the 2 Asian kids were right beside me. And she's 4'11" on a good day, and he's 5'6" or 5'7" on a good day. I was still, laughing at the size of my son's best friend. And I made a joke. I'm like, my God, look at the size of that kid. He's just huge. And my son's mom said, well, his mom is like 5'10", And I just quipped back to her and I said, well, our son's dad is 6'4". Now, given that his mom is about 5'5", but I'm 6'4", and here my son is one of the smallest kids on the squad. Now, at this time, I'm not thinking anything. I am just enjoying the moment. I am looking at my son and watching him play. But it was about 5 minutes later that I was hanging on to the fence that separates the bleachers with the field. As I'm hanging on, the rain starts to come down, and this cloud of thought came from nowhere and just right into my head. That's not your boy. Oh, what a gut punch. Oh. Now, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to disrupt the moment, didn't say anything to his mom, but there was a knowing. It wasn't just a feeling, it was a knowing. And I hung on to that fence, and my eyes were welling up, but thankfully it was raining, and I just knew. And I've had a couple more days with him, so I stayed present. I stayed present with him, but I couldn't get the thought out of my head. I have blue eyes. Now his mom has brown eyes and brown hair, and now he has brown eyes and brown hair. No big deal. Still not feeling that suspicion. I finished that weekend with him, being fully present. And it was about 3 weeks later, and I was home. So at this time, I'm in a new relationship. In fact, we're engaged. We're living together. But I'm home sick this one day. And as I'm sitting on the couch, and I rarely watch television, like mainstream TV, it's just not my thing. But back then, I'm flipping through the channels, and I realize that there's, it's 5 to the hour. So all the shows are wrapping up. And I get to the one channel, and it has Maury Povich on. And you can guess what the theme of the show was. It was maternity tests. Yeah, those sensationalized moments where they're doing the big reveal of the DNA tests. And on stage was this white trash woman, and there was 8 black dudes, 8 of them. And there's one guy that professes that that's his kid. So he's been looking after that kid for I don't know how many years. But there's 8 other dudes that are saying, oh, he's mine, or they don't want to know, or whatever it is. But as they're doing the reveal, it's you're not the father, you're not the father, you're not the father. And on it went. Not a single dude on that stage was the father. Just crazy. And I know it's sensationalized, but it was an eye-opener. And the show credits are starting to roll now. And there is an advert as the credits are rolling. And it was saying, hey, if you are a father and you're questioning your paternal rights, call this number. I thought it was kind of out of left field, and I did. The number was a US number, and I'm in Canada. And the woman, she goes, Sugar, we don't have anything for you here, but there's a place called New Westminster. Do you know where that is? And I went, yep. And she goes, Sugar, here's the number. Set you up straight away. Good luck. So yeah, I phoned the number. I couldn't believe it. I found myself dialing that number. And shortly after, they picked up on the other line. She said, Dwayne, the fact that you're calling this number, there's an 87% chance you're not the father. Yeah, they actually have statistics, because they know that if you feel it in your gut, it's usually telling you the truth. And then she said, when you come in, this is not just, hey, here's a DNA kit and away you go. No, they are very thorough, because these tests can be admissible in court. And so you have to do it by the book. And so they show you all the steps that need to happen. So she said, when you come in, we're going to be coaching you, and we're going to give you the kits. And then there's a very, very strict way that this has to be played out. So my routine to go visit my son was to go to Vancouver, rent a car, and then take the ferry over to Victoria. And the reason I do that instead of flying directly is because I love being on the boat. I love it. It's such a beautiful passage trip. And so it's a great way to spend some time. However, New Westminster is a suburb of Vancouver, and it's about a 25-minute, 30-minute drive from the airport to New Westminster. And I figured, hey, I could just pick it up, or I could just grab my car, go to New Westminster, do my thing there, and then head on down to the ferry. So it's kind of on my way in a roundabout way. So I get there, and they sit me down, and they give me all the details of what needs to happen. And she said this: you're going to play the most saddest of games you've ever played with your son. I went, okay, well, how do you mean? And she goes, well, do you have a nighttime routine? I went, yep. And she goes, okay, you're going to play the toothbrush game. And the toothbrush game is you both are doing your teeth at the same time. And I'm okay. And she goes, then you're going to go through this process. So I'm going to share that with you shortly here. I go through the kit, and they down to the wire, or right to the letter as to how this is going to be done. So I go, and again, I don't say anything to his mother. No, and I don't want to disrupt him. I don't want to disrupt her. This is not what this is about. I get him all to myself for 4 days because she gets to go to Vancouver to hang out with her friends. So it's perfect. So I do this test on the third night, or before I'm to go back home. Like clockwork, we have our toothbrush time. And he's up on his little stool and brushing his teeth. And I do and I finish first. And I have the DNA kit hidden down below in my backpack. I get out my swab. I tear the thing open, and I do my gums, and then I pull it out and I go, oh, awesome. My son, because it's a pattern interrupt, he's going, what you doing, Dad? And I'm going, oh, I'm just checking for plaque. Nailed it. Awesome. And then what is he going to go? Well, hey, it's a pattern interrupt and it looked kind of cool. And he goes, can I try? And I went, oh, I got one right here for you. And I opened wide. My friends, if you are fathers, this is the most saddest moment of my existence at this point, because here I am doing this under the guise of a complete deception. And I go, oh, nailed it. And he's so excited, so excited. No plaque. Awesome. Nailed it, champ. And then I put it in his, and then I seal it up. Done. Putting him to sleep that night was the toughest, doing the story time and cuddling and being with him. I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want it to be true. I prayed, and after he went to sleep, I cried. It was a heavy energy, just a really heavy energy. So the next day, his mom comes back, and I don't say anything again. And we have our goodbyes, and away I go. I head to New Westminster, and I submit the DNA packages to the lab. And they say, well, it's going to take about three to 4 weeks. You'll get the results. Well, it came in about 2.5 weeks. Big envelope. My fiance, she's very supportive, and she says, do you need some time? And you can do it yourself. And I said, yeah, I got to do this. And so I went to my office and I opened it up. And on the top, in the first column, it has the percentage. And I am 99.9999987% not the father. Yeah, another gut punch. I just lost it. I tanked. I did. I had a lot of my identity tied up to being a father, to being a champion, to the little man. So the dynamic shifted. And of course, my fiance is very supportive. She's got 2 daughters of her own. And this is where the focus is at the moment in regards to family. So she says, focus here, because this is where the love is. And when you go back, then I'll support you. I'll come with you. And she did. So we went not on our scheduled time. I went a little sooner. I had some business in Victoria. I had some clients there because my advertising company was blowing up. And so it was a great excuse to say, hey, I'm coming to Victoria. I'm going to, I won't be able to stay. I can only be there for the day. And she goes, oh, well, why don't you come to the restaurant? She was a waitress and a host at one of these restaurants that's really close to the harbor. And I said, great. I went down, and my fiance, she went to a coffee shop up the street, and I went to the restaurant. And my brothers, I sat down and she was, hey, I'm almost off shift. Have a seat right there and I'll join you in a moment. And I took the big envelope out, put on the table, and she slides in and she's like, how are you doing? What's going on? And she saw the envelope and she goes, oh, what's this? And I said, well, this is for you. And she literally went, oh my God. She fucking knew. She fucking knew what it was. Absolutely. And I had to open it for her. The waterworks came and I'm so sorry and all this. She knew. And I'm going to make this story short as best I can. I was the best choice. The real father, the donor, was married and a close friend of the family. And if they had found out, it would have been a huge controversy and caused a lot of problems. And so I was her best choice for being my son's father, her son's father, and providing child support every month. Yeah. Well, my relationship with her ended that day. I told her, I said, I cannot, in good conscience, be your friend, but he should not have to suffer. So I wanted to step up and be his dad. I'm the only guy he knows. But shortly thereafter, for about a year, it just got harder and harder to see him. At one point, it was like, well, you're not his father. And she pulled the DNA and made it very clear who her family was. I'm sure the dad, the real dad, was brought into the life, and I never saw him after his 9th birthday. Yeah. And that was many, many years ago. In fact, he's 24 now. He'll be 25 this year, and had no contact with him. Now, I share this with you because that was the beginning of my nosedive in my perfect storm. Things started to unravel because I had identified so much of who I was with being a father. I had really put that energy in that this is my little man. And the other piece was that I felt deceived. Like, how could I be so fucking naive? Like, how did I get pulled into this? And why didn't I get a DNA test right up front? Yeah, all these questions, everything starts to happen, right? But I also know that I was given a gift. For almost 9 years, I was given the opportunity to be a genetic father. I really thought I was dad. I really did. And I was able to live that moment. And I know I impacted him on a very deep level. It was just really cool to be able to, and it was an honor. So I don't have any regrets from that moment on. The lessons in this was that there are people that are just wired to deceive. And you've got to be careful with who you are attracting in your life. And that includes your business partners. I mean, have you really done your due diligence? Your sexual partners, what is their history? Are you just jumping into the sack? Really look into that. It took me a long time to realize that this wasn't happening to me. It was happening for me. And I had to take the 100-foot view because there was other aspects that were happening. In 18 months after that, my outdoor advertising company tanked. Subsequently, my relationship with my fiance also tanked. And she had a great opportunity to go work down east. And so I told her to do it because my life right now is a cluster and it's just not good energy. I got to come out of this some way, somehow. Come out of it, I did. I did a deep dive into my story, my dramas, my reasons for having to suffer to the degree that I did. I got that it was because I have a huge mission. And it is the foundational piece that if I could come through my perfect storm, I know I can support and help and hold space for my brothers, men that are going through their perfect storm. Because it's not enough to just be able to be book smart or learn everything from a course. You got to live it. You truly got to live it. It became my passion to live the life of a remarkable man. What does it take to truly be a champion to the women in your life, to be a hero to your children, and a brother to each other? And this is why I do what I do. And this is also why I wrote the book, The Remarkable Man. I got to get that in focus there. Get your copy today on Amazon. It is a true game changer. And this is the catalyst that started it all. And my story is in here. My brothers, no matter what you might be going through, be like the buffalo and move through the storm. Keep going. Where most people run from the storm, just plant yourself and just push forward. Because like the buffalo, they limit the time frame that the storm is on them by pushing through, because the storm's coming past them. Where most animals run and the storm chases them, and they're in it for a lot longer time than they need to. Now, I didn't have a perfect life after that. I mean, I've had my ups and downs, and I've had some epic failures. I've also had some monumental wins. But I hope my story, my perfect storm, gives you some level of hope that you too can get through it. If I can, you can. But it's understanding why these things are happening to you and reframe it, because it's happening for you. Now, what could it be? Even though you're in it, how can this be a benefit? And I know when you're really stuck in it, the ego is going, wait a minute, Dwayne, you had me up until this point, but really? Have you seen the bullshit that I have to deal with right now? It's way worse. And you're telling me that this is happening for me? Yeah, I am, brother. Yeah, I am. It's happening for you because you are being forged by the fire. The universe, God, wants you to play a bigger game. And you need to go through this to learn the lessons, because something on the other side of that is where your victory is going to be. And you may be the guy that helps other people through your storm. You may be the guy that lifts another brother up because of what you learn about yourself. It may be the life lessons you need in order to be a champion to your children. And you might be changing to such a degree that you become the 2.0 version you need to be for the next chapter of your life to attract your dream woman, because the person that you are isn't ready yet. Learn the lesson, brothers. Truly learn who and what you are. Because on the other side of your fear is your freedom. And if you're going through pain right now, feel all of it. Do not deny yourself that pain. Do not deny yourself the sorrow and the hurt. Just feel it all. Get messy, get ugly, try and just let it out. In fact, I want to give you this gift. If you haven't already done this, if you're really feeling some really heavy energy, get into your car, get into the garage, get into your car, or go to a parking lot in the middle of nowhere. Stay in your car and put the visor down, look at yourself and just rage. Just get it all out, swear your ass off and look at yourself and just fuck you, just get angry at the man in the mirror and let it all out. And then rage to everyone. In fact, if you really want to go to another level, bring a cushion, maybe from the couch or from the bedroom. Bring a cushion so that you can wail on it, get physical and just wail on it, get the physical energy out. Because that, my friend, is the rage that you can't share with anyone, even your brothers. You've got to have a container for it. And your own personal bubble is so important. Never let anyone see that rage to that level. That's private. But if you give yourself the gift of doing this, it will allow those dark emotions to open up to more healing emotions. And as you get the rage out, now comes the sadness, now comes the heartache, now comes the vulnerability. And it's like, oh, it's a dump. And you're a mess. You're an absolute mess. But allow yourself to be a mess. Just allow. And after you're able to purge that, you may, just may, after a few times, not going to happen maybe right away, but after a few times, you may find that there's an elation. You feel the energy of being set free. You don't feel a heavy weight anymore. And you actually can feel God's presence. All the shit's out of the way. And you can feel the at-one-ment of yourself connected to creation. And it's a beautiful thing. It's so amazing. And from that place, you may even cry tears of joy that you get it, or you feel it, or you're in gratitude for being able to let go and see clearly the error of your ways, to see clearly why the hurt and the pain happened for you. Because it is, brother. It's happening for you. Get that in your, write it down if you can. It's happening for you. It's not happening to you. Hardest lesson anyone will ever learn. My friends, if you are going through your perfect storm right now and you would like to have some help, then DM me or reach out to me. Go to DwayneClassen.com, link in the show notes, and book your breakthrough discovery call. Let's have a powerful conversation about where you want your next breakthrough. You'll come away with a crystal clear plan for what's next, and we can explore for a fit to work together. And like what I said earlier, get my book, The Remarkable Man, Champions to Women, Heroes to Children, and Brothers to Each Other. True game changer on Amazon. Link in the description or the show notes. The Remarkable Man Project is here to help men level up their lives and be the 2.0 version of themselves. We're here to give you the leadership, the tools, and the brotherhood that you need to feel like the remarkable man you know is within. Stop doing the lone wolf journey. Join the Remarkable Man Project School community today. Link in the description. Gentlemen, we are experiencing pretty crazy upside down woke culture world. And what this world truly needs is remarkable men. And my question to you is, will you be one of them? Say yes and join the Remarkable Man Project. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do now. And give us a comment to help the algorithm find us and get the Remarkable Man Show out to more and more people. You make a difference. Brothers, be good to yourself. And remember, you're not alone on the journey. At the Remarkable Man Project, hey, we've got your back. Thanks for joining us on the Remarkable Man Show. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Remarkable Man Show podcast. If you like what you heard and you want to know more, go to DwayneClassen.com for your free resources. As well, subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and most podcast platforms. And leave us a 5-star review to help grow the channel. Watch the video version on the Remarkable Man Project YouTube channel. Now get out there and be remarkable.